Reality Team TV, we're back. We're back. We've got another lovely guest onto the red chair. You know, one of my favorite topics, as you guys already know, comedy. And we're going to talk more about comedy. You know, we're going to get to know her even more. And yeah, guys, what's good? Could you tell the people your name? And we can go from there, yeah?
Yeah, hi, I'm Saleha Masud and I'm a Bengali Muslim comic.
Straight, I want to get straight into, your comedy journey. Like, when did you catch the bug? Like, when did you fall in love with comedy? Obviously, first of all, I assume you fell in love with obviously just the art of comedy, watching other people do comedy, making you laugh. Like I said, different comedians. And then I assume after a while, you fell in love with also being a comedian, like wanting to be a comedian as well, right? So, like, yeah, it's like, when did you fall in love with comedy first?
I think I fell in love with the idea of performing to begin with. So, like, I used to have to hide and do school plays. My dad was like, it's haram, you can't do this. So, my teachers used to cover for me. And I loved just like, and my roles were usually secondary, like they were not the principal characters. So I was the Wicked Witch in Wizard of Oz, which, look at my profile, it works. But, um, so I did that, and actually there were a load of like laughter gags that I got, so I really enjoyed that. And then I was also in Fiddler on the Roof, and I was like the actual matchmaker in Fiddler on the Roof, and she was like an elderly character. Again, there were like loads of laughter and loads of gags that I got to do, and it was just like infectious. I really wanted to keep performing, but how to do that? So I thought I'm also a lawyer, I'm a solicitor, and I used to think, okay, I can get my fix of performing on stage by performing in front of a court and getting paid for it. So I was doing advocacy, but it made me like very nervous. It used to make me nervous just getting into a tribunal and chatting, and I'd get that dry mouth feeling. So I'd already started to get used to being performing out in public in front of like people where it's high stakes. But really what triggered me into, like anchored me into comedy, was when my ex-husband said to me, you don't have any wit or personality. And yeah, he said that. So and that made me go and Google, how do you get wit? Like, it was as basic as that. And it said improv. Now, I know a lot of people really can't stand improv, but I got into improv, and it is the most fun you can have, like chatting with other people, relating to other people. It's fun doing it, but it looks like shit. So what I realised was, to do comedy, I got a course into stand-up comedy, and that course I realised was perfect for me, because I want to respond to other people having a nice conversation on a football pitch, and it's a really funny conversation, like five guys having a chat about football and they're like shooting the shit, and they have these amazing conversations. I'm never fast enough with a comeback, but comedy allows me to like draft, and I can do a comeback in 24 hours. I can come back with a really good comeback in 24 hours, and that is what stand-up comedy is.
Yeah. For the people, even on a quick one, yeah, like for the people who, like me, because when I went on your page earlier, quickly on the last minute thing, to just look through, I came across comedy roast battle.
Right.
What's that all about? I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna get into it even a bit more, like, because for me, I've never really seen it before. Like, could you explain to me and the people, what is it?
Comedy roast battle is when you roast another comic on stage, and
You're a
it's
savage, by the way.
oh, you saw
You're a
the
fucking
actual video.
savage. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Continue though. Jeez.
I love doing comedy roast battles. I'm a real geek about it as well.
Yeah.
I feel like, I think I could do that when I'm doing absolutely no stand-up comedy. I would continue doing roast battles because it's like the least stress. But you roast another comic and they roast you back, and they will pick on every bit of your insecurities. But I do get a little, like, if you want to look behind the scenes, it is this: you do get a bit of time to prepare. So you get a bit of information about your opponent. And actually, it's very much like a hearing. you are disclosing some facts and you're like preparing an argument. Then you go and like deliver it in turn, and then somebody judges the outcome. And the atmosphere is absolutely electric in a roast battle. It's like at 11 p.m. and the type of people that turn up to a roast battle are really up for fun. They finish their work, they finished having drinks, and like they like the stragglers, they're there just to like hear something that's going to shock them. And yeah, the crowd is really receptive. The people that turn up like love it. It's a specific type of person that turns up to a roast battle. And I have done roast battle in the middle of an MC battle as well. Don't Flop is UK roast part of UK roast battle scene.
I think I've heard of that one before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a guy called who runs it, and he's been running it for about a decade, but he's also interested because it has a similar type of format. Like, although you're like wordsmithing around comedy roasts, they battle around like lyrical roasts, and that is also really skillful. Those guys memorize their lines like, you know, academically. It's really impressive what they have to do, so they try and slot in a roast battle in the middle of it. But yeah, I love doing it. You'd think being quite like large and with the features that I have, it would like you know, put the fear of God into me, but actually it's made me feel a lot more comfortable about myself. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. What do you want to get from comedy? What do you actually want to get, like, what do you want to achieve or to accomplish in comedy? Like, what is your main goal?
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I want to carry on doing comedy. I want to win a couple of competitions. I want to be noticed by the commissioner of Roast Battle. This is like a Santa's wish list, isn't it? I want to be on. I want to do some time in a recording studio. I'd like to do my own show, like I do a one-off show of about an hour. And I want to make sure that I'm connecting to an audience that's Muslim and like from the Indian subcontinent, or definitely the brown community. What do I want to achieve? I want to be really comfortable working in between different audiences as well, because there's a difference between doing black audiences and Indian audiences and then the mainstream white. There are some people that can do all three all at the same time, and that's really skillful.
Yeah. You see, for you, what is the science of comedy? Like, what is the science of being a comedian, being able to, you know, just go on stage and just like somehow put some jokes together and just get a crazy reaction of laughter from certain people, from us, the consumers? What do you think is the science behind comedy or being one of the best comedians, if you get what I'm trying to say? Because obviously there's levels to this shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The science of it. So there are like a couple of laughter triggers. I think there's about 9 laughter triggers.
About 9?
Yeah, there's more than I thought, definitely.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, seeing someone else laugh in a room and like that will make you laugh.
Okay.
But then like falling over is also funny. That's slapstick. That's like physical comedy. That's a laughter trigger.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be able to like hit those triggers. But also I have a tendency to just keep going on and on. Like when you start out in comedy, your jokes like they feel really long, and they are actually too long. And then you kind of excuse it, like the lack of skill, by saying, "Oh, I'm a storytelling comedian," but you're not. You're just not very good. And roast battle helps me to like condense those jokes down to set up punchline topper.
Yeah. You see that on the red chair here also. Remember one of the conversations we had on the phone, like I said, when I have these conversations, like one of my main aims is to, you know, for people to get to understand the woman, you know, the comedian, but overall the human being. Hence why, you know, I ask certain questions so that, like I said, so that by the end of this conversation, people can get to know you even a lot more. So it's like, obviously, you know, like you do comedy, you know, you're a solicitor, you're a lawyer, and I'm sure you do other things as well. Like just in reality, just in life overall, yeah. Do you feel fulfilled?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like fulfilled and content in terms of like the place that you are right now in your life?
Yeah, I feel really good actually.
Mm.
I got nice elements going for me.
Yeah.
There was a time where I was in my 20s
Mm.
and I was in an age gap relationship. And, you know, I was 20, they were 38. And, you know, I was very much a kept person. I was like, you know, I just a baby. So I let that person look after me, but I'm now in control of my share. I control the elements as much as one can. So I've got like a nice income stream from being a solicitor and really having fun with that job. And then like I get to socialize with the audience and like other comics, which is a massive circuit of people that are really interesting and diverse. Like if you had like 6 of the comics sitting around a table, you know, I've had comments from bar people that are like, "Oh, you look like a really odd group," and I'm like, "Yeah, we just finished doing our AA meeting actually. Like you look that odd together."
Yeah. Like going back to comedy quickly, yeah. In the UK, do you feel like there's like obviously America's different, but as a comedian for yourself, yeah, do you feel like because obviously of us in the UK, our sense of humor, the way we are, is obviously completely different from Americans, right? But do you feel like for comedians such like yourself and a lot of other comedians, do you feel like there's a glass ceiling in the UK?
Oh yeah. I think so. You don't like much of the comics in the UK? Is that what you're saying?
I just because I'm a very blunt person. Like over the years, I've tried to learn to to just tone it down a little bit. But to be brutally honest with you, I feel like the UK has got some shit comedians. Full stop. A lot of shit comedians who, again, obviously, like people. You know, like sometimes when all of us have got our own opinions in it, and I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes that's fine as long as I'm not basically like like saying names or I'm being personal or whatever. I just feel like when it comes to just comedy, to just making me laugh because that's what comedians are meant to do. I just feel like there's a lot of dry comedians in the UK, and I feel like a lot of them also like they play a little bit too safe. It's that for me, I feel like a lot of comedians in the UK just a lot of them just do similar things to each other as well, like similar kind of material to a certain degree, and I just feel like I get bored to be fair.
So who was the last comic that you actually enjoyed?
That I enjoyed in the UK.
Yeah, and outside actually.
Yeah,
Let's have a look.
overall, Cat Williams overall is my favorite. For me, because I have to obviously people sometimes forget, but this is why I have to keep on making this disclaimer saying for me
Yeah.
personally. But yeah, for me personally, Cat Williams is the best comedians of all time for me, and in the UK. Right now, obviously the debate ones obviously more the comedian, but I feel like Babatunde. For me, I even feel like Babatunde is even more funnier than more the comedian.
Okay.
Yeah, but I like Babatunde. He stands out. Even now I'm thinking, who else? Babatunde, more the comedian, Eddie Cuddy.
So I think, but that tells me a lot already because they're all black comics. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just feel like you're saying to me that they're all becoming quite generic and they're having to play it safe. But I think that's a lot to do with the fact that the spaces where you do comedy, they're quite limited. All the nights and we're living in a like 24-hour social media type of environment. So there needs to be more variety. But you can't have that variety unless there's more breeding grounds for brown comics. And you need to see like all that diversity of different types of black people come out so that you can see something new. And I think that's happening now because there's so many more brown nights. So like I used to run Super Brown Comedy, and like there's a few more guys running nights that are considered black nights, and they're going to be the breeding grounds for a variety of different types of like female comics and like non-binary type of black comics and like comics from abroad, like from Somalia, from Sudan. You need to see all those different types of people reflecting back at you what you already know. They just put a funny spin on it, and I think that's what's also makes comedy funny. Like I liked Ali Wong.
Who's Ali Wong?
She's this like, I think she's Korean or Vietnamese, like one of the two. but she did Baby Snake. She's pretty big in America. She's inspirational. She's very sassy. Like the first show that I saw, she was pregnant while she was doing it, but she was chatting a lot about, you know, sex, but also infidelity and relationships. But she does it with a different edge, and I really related to her being aspirational, like being quite, you know, confident, a successful woman, but also having these moments where she feels really small. But you know, people like her are now getting airtime as big comics. That's what I need to see, because she's reflecting something back at me. Now I want to see more Muslim comics. I also want to see some Bengali comics. I also like Usama Siddiq. He's a Bengali comic that's in from Toronto, I think, but he's been on Netflix. I just find him hilarious. Like, you know, I watched him live in London and I fell off my seat. Like, there's not that many comics that can make you do that. When you're a comedian, you just analyse comics
differently.
Yeah, well, at the beginning when I was like unconscious about comedy, I could just watch it innocently and fall off my seat laughing. That's harder to do because you're just sitting there like, heard that already. You know, you do feel a bit like that.
It's true.
But with Usama, it was just fresh, and it was like really inane sometimes.
Yeah.
It's really silly, some of his jokes. They're not like highbrow. I can't even, like, it's not like political comedy I'm looking for. I'm not looking for loads of substance either, and that's very personal. I'm just looking for someone to hit those laughter triggers, and that gives me a sense of well-being. That's maybe what I think you might be looking for, just someone who's going to hit that spot and just make you feel good about yourself when you walk out the door.
And the last person to do that, and even I'm going to say this as well, like with Cat Williams, even though I've just stated like he's my favourite all-time comedian, yeah, but his last special on Netflix, it was a bunch of shit, man.
Right.
Did you watch it?
No, I actually haven't seen it. So like what I saw was podcasts, and he was chatting on podcasts.
Yep.
Sometimes on podcasts people do put in their material, but I didn't see anything funny, and it was more him just moaning like a Karen. But he was talking about, he was moaning about something really serious. He was moaning about Diddy. So,
yeah,
you know, he brought that out for my attention.
Yeah.
But I couldn't take him very seriously. He does look like like, people are a bit worried about him. You know?
Yeah.
The last guy that made me, like, seriously laugh and continues to give me laughs is the guy from the meme that says, in the beginning.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
That guy never fails to make me laugh. If
Yeah.
I think about it, I've probably watched his clips like every couple of days. But in the beginning is hilarious.
Yeah.
And he was all unintentional. But like he just hits all my triggers. And that guy, it turns out, is in fact the a former prime minister.
That guy?
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
if it's Zimbabwe or South Africa.
Yeah, but somewhere in Africa.
But he's a very senior official that was struggling to say that sentence.
Oh, good. Oh, my.